Hello, everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the July 14th, 2018 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this hot evening. I just got in this minute from a graduation party. My niece Amanda Lucky, she graduated already. She just had a party. She had all her friends over, and I was there with Barbara. Got there around 6 o'clock, and it was all crowded, all this food, and I was like, we got to get back. So I gave out some cards at the party. Hope those guys are tuning in. Had a lot of fun. I'm here to spin original vinyl 45s out of my collection. We opened up tonight's Vinyl Treasure Show with a B-side of a song I think you know. It may have sounded familiar to you. A big national hit that was number 2 on both the Billboard and Cashbox charts. R&B organist, pianist Bill Doggett. Honky Tonk Part 1 was the big hit for him. We just heard, though, the B-side, Honky Tonk Part 2, which features Clifford Scott. He's on tenor sax, came out on Sid Nathan's King label. Now, Doggett had lots and lots of releases through the years. Unfortunate that he passed away November 13th, 1996, at the age of 80 from a heart attack. But that song will live on in the vaults of our musical mind. That one there from August 1956. Bill Doggett on King with Honky Tonk Part 2. Enough of my babbling here. Let's open up the vocal portion. Posted this one up real quick on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. We open up the vocal portion on Buddy Caldwell's Fitetones label, which was out of Philadelphia, PA, but the group, they are from Harlem, New York, as this song was a big Gus Gossard favorite, because that's the first time I heard it. Written by Ronnie Mack, who subsequently, he would write a big hit for the Chiffons back in 63. I know you know the tune, He's So Fine, but he also wrote this tune, and I'm featuring it on the true first pressing Fitetones records that omits the writer credit. And it just mentions the Tops as the group. And the organist on this one is none other than Dave Baby Cortez. Features Jimmy Rivers on lead. Here are the Tops from March 59 when it was first released. The Tops on Fitetones with Puppy Love.
Because we're very young and have not yet reached 16. They think that we don't know the things that all should know to make a romance complete.
That record, first released in March 1959, V-Tone Records, came out as The Tops. Puppy Love is the name of the tune, and then the song became a local hit in Philadelphia as Colwell did re-release it in early 1961, both on his V-Tone label and his subsidiary Len Records as Little Jimmy and the Tops. And in October 61, Swan picked it up and put it out as Little Jimmy Rivers and the Tops. We just heard the true first press block print V-Tone for the Tops with Puppy Love. John G here for a Saturday evening. It's all 1950s and early 60s. Let's head to Queens, New York for this next group. They had 4 releases on Sid Nathan's Deluxe Records. This is their 4th. It features Larry Pendergrass on lead, along with Buddy Johnson and his orchestra. We go to October 1958. Give a listen to the Chanters on Deluxe and their tune called No, No, No.
No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes.
I love you, and no one else will do. My heart sings, don't ever say we're through. Please tell me our love was meant to be. Please be mine. You know I love you with all my heart. Please don't say that we will ever part. Your kisses thrill me when you are in my arms. Kiss me, darling, I'm lost in your charms. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes. Boom, 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 boom.
No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes.
Kitty Leeds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's the Chanters. Actually, for this release, it says Bud Johnson and the Chanters. The original version from October 1958, Sid Nathan's Deluxe record label, No, No, No is the name of the tune. Now, in the early 60s, mainly due to Slim Rose, owner of Times Square Records, the Chanters enjoyed a resurgence of airplay, which prompted Deluxe Records to re-release some of the group's sides, and they did that in 1961, and one of those happened to be a shortened version of that one you just heard, that song that I played, No, 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 which would become their biggest hit, by the way, in 1961. It made the national charts number 84 in 61, and then number 41 on Cashbox, but it was shortened. Didn't have that bongo in it, and they shortened it, I think, a tad faster, too, but again, they became more popular in the early 60s than they were in the 1950s. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We play the music chronologically here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. So here's a flip side from last week, and it's an early one for this great group out of Newport News, Virginia. They are the Five Keys. I featured the A side of their 13th on Aladdin, a song entitled My Saddest Hour. Featured the lead of Marilyn Pierce. He was the lead singer on that side. Let's give a listen to the B side. It features Dickie Smith doing lead on the B side. He also wrote the tune. We go to December 1953. The Five Keys on Aladdin and their tune called Oh Babe.
Well, I met the sweetest girl just the other day I asked her for a date. What she said, oh baby, oh baby, oh darling, oh sugar, oh baby, you know I can't refuse. Well, she's got something good and she keeps it here, but I've got something I can love it with. She said, oh baby, oh baby, oh darling, oh sugar, oh baby, you know I can't refuse. Oh well, I work hard every day, bring you home, my babe. You run around and paint the town until the break of day. Oh baby, oh baby, oh darling, oh sugar, oh baby, you know I can't refuse. Well, all right. Well, if you want your little girl, you better keep her by your side. She flags my train, I'm gonna let her ride. Oh baby, oh baby, oh darling, oh sugar, oh baby, you know I can't refuse.
Yeah, I like that tune there from December 1953. The Great Five Keys, the Five Keys on Aladdin Records. Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin label out of Los Angeles, California. Dickie Smith, he's on lead for that one. Oh Babe is the name of the tune. Now this song, it would be covered in 1955 if you own the Orchids 45 on Parrot. It goes under a different title. It's called I Can't Refuse, but it's the same tune originally done by the Five Keys. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Got another vocal group from Queens, New York. We heard from the Chanters. How about this group? Their debut single was the first 45 that was released on Saul Rabinowitz's Baton label out of New York City. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the tune 1,000 Stars, but they had 5 releases on Baton. This was their second, which was recorded in October 1953, but not released until March of 1954. It features Eugene Pearson on lead. We go to Baton Records, March 54. They're called the Riverleans. The name of their tune is called Forever.
You're the one for me. Stars and sun for me. Burning oh so brightly. Forever. Darling, you and I can never say goodbye. Please say you'll hold me me tightly forever, because I have your love. I pray that you will stay, 'cause if you ever leave, how my heart would grieve. I want to hold you nightly forever, because I have your love. I thank the Lord above, and every night I pray, I pray that you will stay. If you ever leave, how my heart would grieve. I want to hold you nightly forever.
March 1954 release there for the Riverleans. Eugene Pearson, he's on lead there. That's their second release on Saul Rabinowitz's Baton Records. March 54, the Riverleans, their tune called Forever. Technically, the group had 6 releases. Their finals, that 6th release really was a reissue. First, one side was 1,000 Stars. They reissued it. They backed it with another tune called Who's the Girl. That one came out in May of 57. So I guess we can call that one their 6th release, even though it was a reissue. Got to say hi to listener John Hall, listening down in the Carolinas there. John has a show called Johnny's Jukebox. It's on Riptide Radio. You got to tune in Sunday afternoon starting at 2 p.m., 2 to 6 p.m. A lot of cool beach music if you're into the beach scene, and some of this R&B stuff too. I know he was digging on that 5 Keys from Newport News, Virginia. I know he likes those cool R&B sounds down in Virginia, but he's tuned into the program tonight. Want to say hello, good luck with his show on Sunday evenings from 2 to 6. Tune into Johnny's Jukebox as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Shows. Move into 1955. Now, many of the bigger R&B record companies located on the West Coast would often open up offices in other cities, some of the big cities, basically looking for talent and new talent at the time. And Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin label did just that. And we just talked about them on the 5 Keys. But they had an office here in New York City. And the scouts in their New York office discovered this next group from Brooklyn, New York, believe it or not. They were called the Dodgers. Many of you that thought they were out on the West Coast, that is not true. The Dodgers were from Brooklyn, New York. And here's the B-side to their second release on Aladdin Records, written by their manager at the time. His name was Paul Winley. Paul Winley, who would eventually become the owner of Winley Records in New York City. You know, all those cool groups that came out on Winley, the Paragons, the Jesters, a whole bunch of cool records on Winley. But let's go to February 55 for the Dodgers on Aladdin and their tune called The Cat Hop.
Oh, baby, baby, you just come in town. Now have you heard about the dance with Bob and Sock put it down? It's called the cat hop. Meow, meow, meow. Oh, the cat hop. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, it's the cat hop. You just gotta learn to do the cat hop. Push your tip on your toes and kinda move around, and then you wiggle low and almost touch the ground, and that's the cat hop. Oh, the cat hop. Yes, girls, that's the cat hop. And you just gotta learn to do the cat hop. Honey child, put your arms all around me, hold me and squeeze me tight. I'm gonna teach you the cat hop, and I'll teach you how to do it right. Cause we're going to a party, we cross town tonight, and when we hit that joint, we're gonna hit it right. We'll do the cat hop. Oh, the cat hop. Yeah, the cat hop. You just gotta learn to do the cat hop. All the Barbies socks all doing it, the young and the old folks too. And you just coming down, baby. Now you know you got to do it too. First you tip on your toes, kinda move around, and then you wiggle low and almost touch the ground, and that's the cat hop. Oh, the cat hop. Yes, little girls, that's the cat hop. You just gotta learn to do the cat hop. Scat!
There you go. Whoops. Scratches and all. Those are the Dodgers. If you thought they were from the West Coast, you're wrong. They are from Brooklyn, New York. The Dodgers there. That's the B-side to their second release. February 1955, The Cat Hop. It sounded like he said cat house. It's the cat hop. That one there, and Eddie and Leo Mezer's Aladdin Records out of Hollywood, California, as we continue here for a Saturday evening. On last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I'd open up with a group called the Cubs. The Cubs on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records. They were out of Harlem, New York. I featured the A-side of their Lone 45 on Savoy. It was called Why Did You Make Me Cry? Well, here is the flip side before we file it back down in the no humidity basement. It features Lee Witherspoon on lead. We go to September of 1956. These are the Cubs on Savoy, and their tune is called I Hear Wedding Bells.
Ba, 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 ba.
Darling, those wedding bells are ringing, and they explain the real meaning of a true love. And soon, my darling, will be united in marriage by the Father up above.
After
September 1956 release there for the Cubs on Irvin Levinsky's Savoy Records. That is the B-side. The B-side called I Hear Wedding Bells. The A-side was Why Did You Want to Make Me Cry? John G here, continuing with some cool 45s out of the year 1956. Now, before Jimmy Jones started having big hits in the early 1960s for Cub Records, you know the hits he had: Handyman, A Good Timin', and so many other releases on the Cub record label. He was a member of a few groups. I think initially the Sparks of Rhythm on Apollo, then he was a member of the Savoys on Savoy, the Jones Boys on the Arrow label, and the Pretenders with releases on a number of different labels. They recorded for Rama, Whirling Disc, Holiday, Central, and Apt Records. But here is his second release on George Goldner's Rama label, which for some reason came out twice on Rama 207 and 210. I'm spinning Rama 210 tonight, as this was the follow-up to his tune, I've Gotta Have You Baby. Here is Jimmy Jones and the Pretenders. We go to October 1956, George Goldner's Rama label, Jimmy Jones and the Pretenders with their tune called Lover.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yes, it's you I really need, loving you like this. Oh, lover, oh, my lover, all I long to hear, your sweet voice, yes, your sweet voice, darling, come back to me. Oh, lover, all I need to say. How I want to know that I love you so.
That's the unmistakable voice of Jimmy Jones. Jimmy Jones and the Pretenders, their October 1956 release. It's on George Goldner's Rama record label, the Red Rama, for you collectors out there. Lover is the name of the tune, and the house band at the time, great saxophonist Jimmy Wright and the orchestra. Now, later in 1960, Morris Levy, who in 60 he owned Roulette Records. Actually, they had to strong-arm George Goldner really to give up all his labels because they owed money. George Goldner, a big gambler, and he could not pay off his debts. So unfortunately they said, look, you can't pay your debts. Well, you know what? you can sign over your record label, and Morris Levy, he will manage your label. So that's how Morris Levy became owner of the Roulette record label. He would release a different version of that tune, Lover, on Roulette Records, attempting to capitalize on the hits that Jimmy Jones was having in 1960 with Good Timin', etc. But it's a different version, so if you're looking for that one, it definitely is a different cut, backing them up the Pretenders. So look for that 45. I'll play it for you in the future. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. Posted this one up on my Facebook wall. Really didn't have enough time. I was at the party too long. But this next group, they are out of Baltimore, Maryland. Initially began recording as the Valtones on Deluxe for Sid Nathan in 1955. But then they ended up on Ben Smith and Bill Bass Gordon's Teenage label out of New York City and released two killer ballads. You may know their first ballad. It was called Moments Like This. That was their first record. Here is their second, which is really much rarer to find. If you have this one, it's an expensive 45 on original. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Percy Crosby. We go to October 1956 for the Baltoneers. Baltoneers on Teenage, and their tune is called Tears in My Eyes.
Here where you left me, here where you left me,
I'm here where you left me, with tears in my I've tried so hard, my dear, to be by your side. So please come back, dear, and stay by my side.
Stay by my side.
I'm here where you left me, with tears in my eyes.
tears in my eyes.
Hold you,
Hold you,
kiss you,
kiss you,
One more time,
and live without you.
out you,
Life is worth a
life ain't worth the time. So please come back, dear, and stay by my side.
stay by my side.
I'm here when you left me, with tears in my eyes.
Yes, when you walked out and left me with tears.
Tears in my
That's the second of two for the Baltoneers. They're out of Baltimore, Maryland. The Baltoneers, that's their second release, October 1956. Tears in My Eyes. Percy Crosby, he wrote the tune, also the lead singer there. Rare 45 on the Teenage record label. Not many records on Teenage Records, but a lot of them are rarities if you own originals on that label. Johnny G's here for a Saturday evening. Say hello to my niece and all her friends tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show, listening there in that hot backyard as we continue here. And on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for Maria Espinosa Campos Peanut Boy. She wanted to hear the Fitetones. They were out of Brooklyn, New York. She requested the B-side of their third release on Thomas Robinson's Atlas label. It was called I Call to You. So let's flip that 45 over. Give a listen to the intended A-side. This one features Gene Red on lead. We go to March of 1956. These are the Fitetones on Atlas. And their tune, it's called Love You Baby.
Don't you know, love you, baby? Don't you know, love you, baby? Don't you know, love you, baby? Need you, baby, to make me strong. Don't you know, I love you, baby? Don't you know, I need you, baby? Don't you know, I love you, baby? I need you, baby, to make me strong. Well, you're my baby, S-O-G. You're my baby, sweet as you can be. You're my baby, oh so fine. You're my baby and you're only mine. Well, you know, I love you, baby. Well, you know, I need you, baby. Well, you know, I love you, baby. I need you, baby, to make me strong. Ba-da-dee-doo, 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 wop. S-O-G.
You're my baby, well as sweet as you can be.
You're my baby, you're so fine.
Well, you're my baby and you're only mine. Well, don't you know?
Don't you know, love you, baby? Don't you know? Don't you know, love you, baby? Don't you know? Don't you know, love you, baby? Need you, baby, to make me strong. Ba-da-dee-doo, 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 wop, wop, wop.
Those are the Fitetones out of Brooklyn, New York, March 1956. Gene Red, he's doing lead the Fitetones on Atlas with their tune called Love You Baby. My favorite record by the Fitetones is You'll Be the Last. That is my favorite one that they do from 1958. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And we move into 1957 now. And here's another flip side from last week. It's out of California on Lyle Griffin's Hip label. Now, the gal's name was Faye Wilson. I featured the B-side of her 45, her lone 45. It was called Playing Me for a Fool. Now, the A-side is a cover song first recorded back in 1940 by the Cats and the Fiddle on the Bluebird label. Then it was revived in 1951 by the Orioles on Jubilee, and then that opened up the floodgates for so many versions of this song. But let's give a listen to Faye Wilson's version. This is with Johnny Otis and his orchestra. And more than likely, the Hollywood Flames are backing her up on this one. We go to April 57 for Faye Wilson on Hip and her rendition of the tune, I Miss You So.
I miss you so.
Those happy hours that once were ours, I miss them, yes, I know. Most of all, I miss you so.
I miss you so.
Don't you know, most of all, I miss you so. I really love you. Yes, I really miss you so.
I miss you so.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. I like that version there by Faye Wilson and the Hollywood Flames, we'll say. April 1957 with Johnny Otis and the orchestra. Hip Records for that one. A great rendition of the tune I Miss You So. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here for a Saturday evening. And I have yet another group out of Brooklyn, New York. This is like the Brooklyn, New York show. But this group discovered by band leader Al Brown, and in May 1957, the group recorded 4 sides for Al Brown. 2 of them came out on a release on the Peak label in July of 1957. A wonderful ballad, if any of you are familiar with the tune called Missing You. Flip side, a good up-tempo called Give Me a Kiss, but Missing You, that is a killer ballad. But then it took another 8 years for their other 2 recordings to come out on 45 or become available. And Al Brown, he sold all his masters in the mid-1960s, and some of them ended up with Relic Records. And Relic put out their other 2 masters. They were, of course, were known as the Starlights. Now, that Relic release came out in 1965 on red vinyl, so it looks pretty cool, but it really is not an original from when it was recorded. It was 1965 release, and it features Sonny Eugene on lead, originally recorded in May of 57, but released in 65 on a 45. These are the Starlights on Relic, and their tune called Joni.
Johnny, don't ever leave me lonely. Oh, don't you say you love me. Oh, Johnny, be mine. Oh, well, Johnny, I love you only. Darling, say you really love me. Oh, Johnny, be mine. Well, I sit around, wondering why I seem to cry, but I could write all those books about you if you promise to love me too. Oh, well, Johnny, I love you only. Say you swear by stars above me that you always be mine.
That's Sonny Eugene on lead along with the Starlights, Featured it on the Relic label because that's how it was released on red vinyl. Looks pretty cool. Joni, the name of the tune, originally recorded in May of 1957, released in 1965. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and we continue to stay in Brooklyn, New York, this time for a flip side from last week on Bess Berman's Apollo record label out of New York City. It played the A-side of this 45 by the Chesters, a.k.a. the DuPonts, with Little Anthony Guardine on lead, a song entitled Lift Up Your Head. But we're going to give a listen to the B-side of the 45, written by Little Anthony, arranged by Sammy Lowe. Let's give a listen to the Chesters from December of 57, the Chesters on Apollo, with their tune called The Fires Burn No More.
The fires burn no more since you said our love meant nothing more. Let's forget. The fires burn no more. The fires burn no more. Into the night, to love is walked. We held hands as we talked. The fires burn no more. The fires burn no more. I wish you were here. Wish you might. Well, Lord, you know I care. Wish you were here. I love you so. And I'll never let you go. The fires burn no more since you said our love meant nothing more. Let's forget. The fires burn no more. The fires burn no more. Fires burn no more.
We'll send that one out to Bopper Boy Warren, currently in the Top Shelf Oldies chart. He loves that tune by the Chesters. Little Anthony Guardine, he's on lead there, December 1955. He also wrote the tune. Remember hearing that one on oldie radio back in the early 1970s. The Chesters on Apollo with The Fires Burn No More. Hopefully Johnny G burning the fires for you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners. You're digging on these cool tunes as we continue here. Let's move into 1958. Would you believe I have another group out of Brooklyn, New York, and this one also associated with Al Brown, as it's on Malcolm Newkirk's Central label, and the debut single for this group, they were called the Excels, and it was written by group member Raymond Diaz. It features Freddie Orange on lead. We go to June 1958 for the Excels on Central, and their tune called Baby Doll.
Boom 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 boom. I met my baby down the street, took her hand and kissed her so sweet, 'cause I love her and she loves me, my baby doll. But started love and then engaged, and you're married, and then with a carriage, that's the life. I leave my friends with my baby doll.
That group there called the Excels, May 1958. It's on the, June 1958, the Excels there on a Malcolm Newkirk's Central record label. Baby Doll is the name of the tune. Now, in 1961, this group would have a release to make it onto the Billboard Hot 100 at number 100, a cover of the tune Can't Help Loving That Girl of Mine. And two members of this group, Raymond Diaz and three members of this group, Raymond Diaz, Benny Travis, and Harry Hillard. They were previously recorded with a group called The Miners on the Celeste label. That's a rare 45. They do a song called Jerry, but they joined this group called the Excels. That was a tune called Baby Doll from June 1958. If there's 145 I need that I will never, ever own, is the Pretenders version of Daddy Needs Baby, which is on that Central label. That is an ultra rare 45 that I have never seen, but I know someone who does have it. Anyway, John G. babbling on here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And this next group, they are out of Garfield, New Jersey, and they got together while attending Garfield High School. They began singing at dances and club functions, but then in 1957, they entered the Apollo Theater Amateur Contest, and from that appearance, they received an audition with Decca Records. The results were 3 singles, and here's the A-side of their second release on the Decca label. It features Dave Brigatti on lead. We go to May of 58 for a group called the High Fives. The High Fives on Decca, and their tune is called Just a Shoulder to Cry On.
Cry on my shoulder.
Cry, cry.
I'm just a shoulder to cry on for you. You don't think about me, just about you. I'm just a shoulder to cry on for you. So cry, cry, cry out your eyes. You run to me when he breaks your heart. You tell me the story right from the start. What can I do? I love you with all my heart. I'll say goodbye. I'm just a shoulder to cry on for you. You don't think about me, just about you. I'm just a shoulder cry on for you, so cry, cry, cry.
I have to agree with you, Warren. I really like that tune also. I don't know what it is with that record. Maybe it reminds me of a Heartbeat song or something, but I like that tune also. Those are the High Fives, May 1958. That is their second release on the Decca label, and Just a Shoulder to Cry On. That's the intended A-side, which I'm surprised because I think the DJs flipped it over and played the uptempo side. Teresa, I think, is the flip side of that one. But Dave Brigatti, he's the lead singer. Now, Dave would later join Joey D and the Starlighters, and he is the older brother of Eddie Brigatti. Eddie Brigatti was a member of the Young Rascals, and also Lenny Dell and the Dimensions also do a nice cover version of that tune on Coral from 1963, but I do like that tune by the High Fives. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s as we continue. That one played pretty nice. This next one out of Oakland, California does not, and I don't know what it is with some of these records out of Oakland, California, but the vinyl is so horrible that there is so much background noise, and I don't know if those were, because some of those presses in Oakland, they were actually almost done by hand. They would press one record at a time. Really terrible pressing plants out there, although Monarch was pretty good, I have to say. But anyway, we head out to the Bay Area. And for this next 45, and like I said, unfortunate that many of the original presses of this one were pressed on inferior vinyl, but it's a good two-sided 45. It's by Floyd White and an uncredited vocal group backing him up, but they are really called the Dealers. And this song was played quite a bit on KWBR and also KSAN in the Bay Area. We go to November of 58 for Floyd White on TV, T-E-E-V-E-E Records, and the name of the tune is called Hey Teresa, parentheses, Take These Roses.
Hey Teresa, take these roses I bring. Take these roses. What is that I bring? Hey Teresa, don't you know that I go for you? I'll do anything you want me to. Take these roses I bring. Hey Teresa, let me walk you on the floor. Let me be your daddy too. Take these roses I bring. Take these roses, 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 take these roses I bring. Hey Teresa, yes your mother said it's alright. I'll be around to get you Saturday night. Take these roses I bring.
Sounds of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Floyd White and the Dealers, November 1958 release. It's on the TV record label. Hey Teresa, Take These Roses is the name of the tune. It's a song that he wrote as we continue here on Vinyl Treasures. Got another flip side from last week. This on Marty Kugel's Clique label was by a group known as the Dreamtones, who were from Springfield, Massachusetts. I played the A side of the 45. It was called Love in the Afternoon. tune, which featured Major Branch on lead, but the B-side features the bass lead of Val Portier. And if that sounds familiar, I think it is the cousin of Sidney Poitier on lead. He also wrote the tune. Let's go to July of 58, the Dreamtones on Clique with Stand Beside Me.
Hold me, darling. Please hold me. Stand beside me. Stand beside me. Forever guide me. You are the one. You are the one. Always forever. Let me go never. Our new love's begun. You're all I have or ever want. Your life and everything to me. Please hear my plea and answer me. Oh, little baby, oh ho, stand beside me. Set my heart free, I'm yours always. Beside me, forever guide me. You are the one. Hold me, darling. Please hold me. Stand beside me.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Dreamtones from July 1958. Stand Beside Me is the name of the tune. That one there on the Clique record label. Now, prior to joining the Dreamtones, Val was the bass of the Mint Juleps on the Herald record label. You know their tune Bells of Love. And supposedly, like I mentioned, he was the first cousin to actor Sidney Poitier, if I said that right. This group would have two more releases in 59 on the Express and Astra record labels. Got to give a shout out to my cousin Jay Manella. Talking to him on the phone. He's tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. It's been a while since I spoke to my cousin, so I am speaking to him now as we put another 45 here on the turntable. And up next, we go to Ray Dobard's Music City label out of Berkeley, California. Not much known about this group, but the song did receive lots of airplay in the Bay Area, especially KDIA in Oakland, California, arranged by Vern Duarte. It features Alan Richardson on lead. Let's go back to January 58 for the Five Crystals on Music City and their tune called Path of Broken Hearts.
I'm walking down the path of broken hearts. There is no turning once this path you start. Only those have cheated and
45s out of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. The 5 Crystals. I think somebody had it as the Crystals. No, it's spelled T-E-L-S. The 5 Crystals, January 1958. It's called Path of Broken Hearts. Came out on Ray Dobard's Music City record label. Features Alan Richardson on lead. I featured it on the Pink Music City color label. Was later released on Dobard's Delcro label with a different flip side. But that's a rare 45. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue, and we stay in California. This time Hollywood, California. We go to Max Fear Tag's Flip label, but this artist, he's from Beaumont, Texas, headed west to study medicine at the University of UCLA, but tried his hand at recording. The result was his debut 45 on the Flip label with uncredited backing by a female group called the Lockets, who had previously backed up Richard Berry on an earlier Flip release. Let's give a listen to Jimmy Smith. J-I-M-M-I-E, Jimmy Smith, from June of 59. It's on Flip Records. It's called Nighttime is the Time.
You know I'm lonely. You know I'm lonely. You know I'm lonely. Start feeling lonely in the morning. Still feel lonely in the afternoon too. But the nighttime is the time that my loneliness makes me think of you.
Nighttime is the time. Nighttime is the time.
You know I need you so.
Nighttime is the time.
And you make me cry when I see you with another guy. 'Cause that's the way we used to be. So very, very happy and carefree. But little did I know that I'd be lonesome and hate for night to come. Oh,
Nighttime is the time.
miss you so.
Nighttime is the
You
time.
know I need you so.
Nighttime is the
And you
time.
make me cry when I need you right here by my side. I remember our walks at night. I remember our talks at night. All these things you know I miss, especially your goodnight kiss.
Nighttime is the time.
I miss you so.
Nighttime is the
You
time.
know I need you so.
Nighttime is the
Make
time.
me cry when I need you right here by my side. 'Cause
Nighttime is the time. I need you so.
yes, nighttime is the time. You know I need you so.
Nighttime is the time. You make me
You
cry.
know that nighttime is the time that I love you so.
Nighttime is the time. I need you so.
Yes, nighttime is the time that I love you so.
Nighttime is the time. You make me cry.
June 59 release there for Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith, the Lockets, that girl group backing them up. Nighttime is the right time for sure. That one there on Flip Records. Now, Smith would go on to record with 2 more Flip groups that recorded for the same label is what I meant. Also recorded later on with the 16s and also with a group called the Elgins as we continue here on Vinyl Treasures. Well, we continue to stay in California for this group out of San Francisco, California. It's their debut single, which came out on Don Barksdale Rhythm label out of Oakland, California, and the tune written by William Wigfall. He is also the lead singer of the group. Let's give a listen to a group called The Lyrics. The Lyrics, it's from August of 59. I do love this record on Rhythm Records, The Lyrics, with their tune called Every Night.
Every night and every day, you give me my heart. Gee, oh gee. the kiss I never had. Ooh, the kiss I never had. Ooh, the kiss
That's the lyrics. William Wigfall on lead there. August 59, Rhythm Records, a song entitled Every Night. Now, this 45, for you collectors out there, came out two ways. Both releases of Every Night released on Rhythm 127, but the flip side of one of them shows number 126. I don't know what happened. Supposedly, it is a different recording. I have them both. I don't know if I've played them side by side before, but maybe we'll do that one night. And I remember it was a number of years ago that the wife of William Wigfall contacted me and she asked me if I had her husband's records. I said, I do. I own all of his 45s. And then she told me that he still had his records. Then he used to come in the chat room. It's been a while. She was corresponding with me back and forth for a number of years, and he would come in as Paper, I forget his name, his code name, but it was Paper something, and he would always comment on the show, and I wonder if he's still around. But if you are William Wigfall, I send that one out. That was a wonderful record that you recorded there, the lyrics with Every Night. Johnny G's here every Saturday from 10 to midnight, spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1959. Well, let's head out to Chicago, Illinois for this group's first single. It came out on Mel London's Profile label. Features Claude Little June Johnson on lead. We go to April 59, Profile Records for Little June and the Januaries, and their tune called Oh, What a Feeling.
Oh, what a feeling I get when you're standing so near.
April 59 release there for Little June and the Januaries. Profile Records, it's out of Chicago, Illinois. Oh, What a Feeling is the name of the tune. Now, that interesting thing about this 45, Danny, I need to pick your brain on this record, is that group member Cy Richardson, who co-wrote this song, went into acting and in 1977 appeared in a number of films, or starting in 77. I never saw this musical, but it was called an erotic musical comedy called Cinderella. He played the fairy godmother, and he also appeared in Repo Man, Sid and Nancy, Straight to Hell, Walker, The Winner, and Searchers 2.0. Does anybody know any of those movies? And also in 1960, he played Turbo in the film Tripwire. I don't recall any of those movies. I don't know if anybody out there does. But initially, he got his start as a member of Little June and the Januaries and co-wrote that song, Oh, What a Feeling. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Have another flip side from last week's Vinyl Treasure Show. Want to say hello out there to Ramtown Mike, tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. And I want to say hello if he has a passenger in his car. Thanks for tuning in to the show. But it's another flip side from last week's show for this girl group from the Bronx, New York. I played the B-side to their fifth and final release on the Dice label, a song called Because of My Best Friend. But let's give a listen to the intended A-side again with Barbara English on lead. They're called the Clique X. December 59, the Clique X on Dice with their tune called To Be a Part of You.
Part of you was my dream come true. To be a part of you made my heart anew. I used to dream and pray all day of a boy like you. And I will wait for you until there is no more, and I will cling to you forever and evermore. I used to dream and pray all day of a love so true, and I would dream of all the love that we share, and I would think of the pleasure of having you near and darling, being a part of you. Sends my soul on fire. To be a part of you is my one desire. I used to dream and pray all day of a love so true. To be a part of you. To be a part of you. To be a part of you. To be a part of you.
That is the fifth and final release for the Clique X. Barbara English, she's on lead. The Clique X from December 59. To Be a Part of You is the name of that one on the Dice record label out of the Bronx, New York. As we move into 1960 now with a group from New Haven, Connecticut. They were called the Scarlets. It's on Bobby Robinson's Fury record label. Now, this Scarlets group is an offshoot of Fred Paris and the Scarlets that recorded for the Clique label. The group was reformed by baritone group member Al Denby, and he wrote this tune, and but he sounds so much like Fred Paris is on lead, but it's not. It's really Al Denby on lead. We go to August 1960, the Scarlets on Fury, and their tune called Truly Yours.
Shout-out, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. Shout-out, 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 shoot.
Truly yours. I knew it from the start. Truly yours. That we never part. You're the beat in my heart. Truly yours. I need you night and day.
step on you. Shoot, be-doo-be-doo-be, shoot, be-doo-be-doo-be. Light in your eyes kept on driving me onward now to eternity. Leon, I knew it from the start to Leon that we never part. You're the beat in my heart. You're the beat in my heart. You're the beat in my heart. You're the beat in my heart.
They're called the Scarlets. The Scarlets on Bobby Robinson's Fury record label. August 1960 release, Truly Yours is the name of the tune. Al Denby, he's the lead singer. He also wrote the tune, sounding a lot like Fred Paris, I have to say. Now, the flip's good, too. The flip side, song entitled East of the Sun, as we continue here for a Saturday evening. Now, on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I featured a group called the Shields. I played their release on the Falcon label, as this group of Shields were really the Pentagons from San Bernardino, California. I played the intended B-side of their 45. It was called The Girl Around the Corner, and that one featured Tony Allen on lead. But this is the intended A-side, which features Joe Jones on lead. The song written and produced by George Mottola. We go to April of 1960 for the Shields, aka the Pentagons, on the Falcon label with their song called You'll Be Coming Home Soon.
I wish on a star way up in the sky, wishing, oh how I'm wishing you'll be coming home soon. Alone in my room, gazing at the moon, wishing that you would call and say you'll be coming home soon. I go to the chapel and pray for your safe return. Each night I light a candle. My love will forever burn. I'm watching the clock that hangs on the wall, wishing that time will change your mind and you'll be coming home soon.
April 1960 release there for the Shields, aka the Pentagons. Joe Jones, he's the lead singer. You'll Be Coming Home Soon. It's the name of the tune. I featured it on the Falcon label. That one first came out on Transcontinental, and I don't know if I have it on that label. I think I have a VG copy of that, but that is a mint copy on that Falcon release. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we are in the year 1960, and in last week's show I played a 45 by Tommy Tommy Cullens on the Carina label out of Chicago, Illinois. It was called Need Your Love. Now, with further research I did on this 45 this week, it included members of the original Five Chances, the same group that recorded on the Chance, Blue Lake, States, and Federal labels. Now, the writer credit on this Carina single lists Howard Pittman, Ronald Johnson, and Johnny Chubby Jones. And the lead singer, he's really Frank Sims, but he gets credit on this single as Tommy Cullens. So let's give a spin to the B-side of the 45 on the Carina label. It's from 1960. It's Tommy Cullens, aka Frank Sims, and probably the Five Chances, although there are only four, so we can call them the Four Chances. But anyway, Tommy Cullens here on Carina with Land of Love.
Come, let me show you around this romantic, enchanting town. How was your trip from up above to this land of love? This land of love. Now we will see how the world accepts you and me. For we have shared perfect harmony in this land of love. Land of love. We'll take our plane trip to Paris, to visit London town and all. Then we'll fly on to Bombay, see the great Taj Mahal. We both agree that this romance is wonderful. For true love really magnifies, goes on endlessly. But we'll take our plane trip to Paris, to visit London town and all. Then we'll fly on to Bombay, see the great Taj Mahal. We both agree that this romance is wonderful. For true love really magnifies, goes on endlessly.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Tommy Cullens, a.k.a. Frank Sims, along with some of the members of the Five Chances. 1960 release Land of Love came out on the Carina record label. Now in August 61, a release came out as the Five Chances on the PS label, but does not have Land of Love as the B-side. The song is called Is This Love, which is, I don't think is that song. I think it's a total another song, although I have to check it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. But anyway, John G babbling on here. Let's move into 1961 as we head out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to the Varby label owned by Odell Bailey. Now, this female singer is originally from Aliquippa. Did I say that right, folks? Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Her name is Little Maxine Simmons, and this was her only release. Came out on the Varby label. We go to December of 61. Little Maxine Simmons, and her tune is called Since I Lost You.
Was it yesterday or a year ago? Darling, I don't really know. I've lost track of time since I lost you. arms. The way I'll crawl and plead, I'll show no shame. Oh, please don't do me harm. Won't you save my heart? All this ache and pain. Say you will be mine again. Life has lost its spark since I lost you. If I have to, I'll take all the blame. I just want back in your arms. The way I'll crawl and plead, I'll show no shame. Oh, please don't do me harm. Won't you save my heart? All this ache and pain. Say you will be mine again. Life has lost its spark since I lost you. Oh, yeah.
Sounds of Pittsburgh here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there, December 61 release, Little Maxine Simmons and a group on the Varby label. Her tune called Since I Lost You. Hopefully Johnny G did not lose you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners, as we continue with other cool tunes from the early 60s, as this next 45 is on the Miracle label, subsidiary of Motown Records, but for some time this 45 was really a mystery. No one knew a lot about this record, but one of the writers, William Stevenson, he was a well-known contributor to the Motown sound, but the other writer is Rex Robertson, now who is deemed to be a member of the group. Then they were called the Ecuadors, but I did read on the Motown Junkie website that they concluded that this group was a local Detroit group that featured Harry Gates Jr. on lead. Now, he was also the lead singer of the Caravels on the Star Maker label, who a month earlier, in August of 61, sang lead on a tune Pink Lips and also the flip side Angry Angel. And Gates was also the lead singer of a group called the Dramatics that recorded for Crackerjack Records, a great soulful doo-wop called Toy Soldier in 1963. Well, here he is, Mr. Harry Gates, again as the lead singer of the Ecuadors, as we go to the Miracle label. This one, September 61, the Ecuadors with Someone to Call My Own.
I need a woman, someone to love me, someone to call my own. And when I get her, I'm gonna love her. I'll never leave her alone. Do you know, girl, that I love the best I can? But no matter how hard I try, nobody seems to understand that I need a woman, someone to love me, someone to call my own. Yeah! Do you know, little girl, that I've done the best that I can, and no matter how hard I try, nobody seems to understand that I need a woman, someone to love me, someone to call my own. And listen, John has one, and so does Wiley, even Sam and Charlie. Everybody's got one. And oh, let me tell you,
September 61 release there, the Ecuadors. The Ecuadors on the Miracle record label featured, what did I say, Harry Gates. He's the lead singer. Someone to Call My Own is the name of the tune. It was amazing that the person who ran that website, that Motown Junkie website, he said he hated that record. I don't know what he's listening to. I think that's a pretty cool 45 as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week's show, I played a major hit, as I rarely do here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This hit by this Pittsburgh's own Marcels. It was their second biggest hit, a song entitled Heartaches. Now, it was a 45 that my aunt purchased in the fall of 1961, but she also flipped the record over and she played the B-side just as much, if not more, than the A-side, and it's a song that I really enjoy. It features Cornelius Harp on lead. We go to September of 61 for the Marcels. If you flip over their big hit Heartaches on the Cold Picks label, you get this cool tune. It's called My Love for You.
my love for you is a burning fire that glows with each heartbeat. It's filled with the great desire and shows every time we meet. I'm full of love, all I've got is love. All I ever think about is giving you my love. All my love, baby, take my love. I don't want it, you can have it. All I wanna do is love you. 'Cause all I have to offer you is
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Marcels. Cornelius Harp on lead. That's September 1961 release. It's the fourth of 13 releases on the Cold Picks record banner. B-side of Heartache, song entitled My Love for You. As we continue here, and we absolutely, I was saddened to hear the passing of Mr. Eugene Pitt, the lead singer of the Jive 5. He passed away on June 29th, 2018. It was right before my all 1960s show, and I played I think one or two records. I won. I'm going to continue on my 60s at the end of the month to play a few more releases by the Jive 5 mid-60s, but I have a couple tonight that I would like to feature, as this group was out of Brooklyn, New York, and their biggest national hit was their debut single that came out on the Belltone label. My True Story was number 6 on Cashbox, number 3 on Billboard, and actually made it up to number 1 in a lot of places here in the U.S. Places like KYA in San Francisco, WTVN in Columbus, Ohio, KTKT in Tucson, Arizona, and here in New York was a big #1 record on WABC. But here is their follow-up to My True Story, which didn't do as well nationally, was only number 75 on Cashbox, 74 on Billboard, and was number 31 here in New York City on WABC, and 37 on, number 31 on WABC, and I missed the other one there. But anyway, let's give it a spin here as we pay tribute to the late Eugene Pitt. We go to October 61. Give a listen to the Jive 5 on Belltone and their tune called Never, Never.
Never, 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 no will I let you go. Never, 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 because I love you so, and you know, yes you know, you're the girl in my heart. Never, 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 please give your love to me. Never, never, never. I'm on my bending knees, and I know, yes I know, you're the girl in my heart. I've told you not your story and why I had to cry. You know names have been changed to protect you and I love you, darling. I love you so, and I'll never let you go. Never, never, please give your love to me. Never, never, never. I'm on my bending knees, and I know, yes I know, you're the girl in my heart. Never,
That's the late Eugene Pitt there. He also wrote that tune. October 1961, the Jive 5 on Belltone with their follow-up to My True Story, a song entitled Never, Never. Now, another song that I want to feature is the B-side of another song that was well known by the Jive 5, a tune written by Feldman, Goldstein, and Goddard. They wrote this tune. You know the song. I'm sure many of you do. It was called What Time Is It? In fact, the B-side did chart also, was number 33 on WAAT out of Trenton, New Jersey, as we pay tribute to the late Eugene Pitt. This is the B-side to What Time Is It? We go to June of 62 for the Jive 5 on Belltone Records. It's called Beggin' You Please.
begging you, begging you, begging you, please. Darling, you're lovely as can be, just as pretty as one can see. I never thought you could be so unkind. I searched all over, but could not find no contentment, no peace of mind.
I'm begging you, please. Come to me. I'm begging you, please. Whoa, yes, darling. I'm on my bending knee. I'm begging you, please. Come to me. Whoa, please. Whoa, please. Be mine. Nights are so lonely since you've been gone. Days are so dreary. I'm so all alone. Darling, come on. Come on home to me. Bow, bow, I'm begging you, please. I'm on my bending knee. Darling, please, whoa, please. Please, come to me, whoa, please. Begging you, please. Begging you, begging you, begging you.
I really like that tune there by the late Eugene Pitt, the Jive 5 June 1962 release. That's the flip side to What Time Is It? Beggin' You Please is the name of the tune. Came out on the Belltone record label. Gone but never forgotten here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we continue here. And can't find much about this next group, but this label is out of Newark, New Jersey. It's called Epsom. EP-SOM. Is that like Epsom salt where you soak your feet in? That's what I do anyway. But the label's out of Newark, New Jersey. I like both sides of this 45. Now, the song is directed by Robert Banks, whoever he is. The writers are Van Dyke and Jackson. That's all I know. But this side, it's odd. They said that it's pop. They called it pop. I don't know if it's pop. You can be the judge. We go to March of 62. They're called the Enchanters. It's called Goddess of Love.
Oh, you must be Venus, oh goddess of love, 'cause I'd rather love you than anyone I can think of. So I call you Venus, oh my goddess of love. The angels must have sent you from heaven above. Yes, for me. For me to love, so I call you Venus, oh my goddess of love. So won't you tell me you are my lover, for in eternity I have discovered. Oh, you must be of love. So won't you tell me you are my lover, I have discovered, oh, you must be Venus, goddess of love. I'd rather love you than anyone I can think of. Goddess of love, so I call you Venus, oh my goddess of love. Venus, wonderful Venus,
wouldn't call that a pop 45, not by any means, but that's what they said on the label. It's a pop 45. Those are the Enchanters. March 1962, Goddess of Love is the name of the tune. Came out on the Epson record label. As we continue here, got a request for Mr. George Tompkins. Wanted to hear this group out of Atlanta, Georgia. They initially recorded as the Invictors on the TPE record label. They had 4 releases on TPE, but then they became the New Invictors, and George requested this great ballad from 1962. We go to the Hale record label, HALE Records. These are the New Invictors by request for George Tompkins. It's called Deeply in Love with You.
Whoa, darling, I'm deeply in love with you. 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 Yes, darling, I love you so much, and I need you by my side. For your precious love, I'll never cry, 'cause I love you. I really love you. But wait a minute now. Yes, darling, I love you. With all my heart and all my soul, and all my love, dear, you possess, and the man up above knows that you control. I've been hot so many times, and in so many, many ways, just how much I love you, dear. And I'll tell it like this, any place that I love you. I really love
as Johnny G gets caught here. That is by request for Mr. George Tompkins. That's a great record. 1962 release for the New Invictors. It's on the Hale record label, and their cool tune, Deeply in Love with You, is the name of that one. As we continue here, we are now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and I have a flip side from last week's Vinyl Treasure show. It's a girl group. They're known as Marie and the Decors. I played the intended A-side of their only release, came out on the Cub label. The song was called Queen of Fools. Let's give a spin to the intended B-side as the intended B-side of the 45 before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. Now, this side was written by Barry Darvell and Robert Duke Leonard. Now, Barry Darvell also recorded for the Cub record label, had his first release in 61 on Cub called Fountain of Love, back with Little Angel Lost. And Robert Duke Leonard, he was Barry's manager for a while, and they both collaborated on a couple of songs. This was one of them for Marie and the Decors from September 62. It's on Cub Records. It's called I'm the One.
La 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 la, doing la la la, doing la la la. I'm the one who really needs you. I'm the one who really loves you. I know that someday I
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Marie and the Decors, September 62 release on the Cub record banner. I'm the One is the name of the tune. I'm the One on Saturday evenings from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies, spinning all my original vinyl 45s as we wind down here. Now here's a flip side from a few weeks ago, maybe more than a few weeks ago. I played the intended A-side of this 45 on the Queen label by this group out of Louisville, Kentucky. They were called the Maroons. Now, the song I featured was called Don't Leave Me, Baby, Don't. But I also like the B-side, and I'm going to send this one out to Charlene Whiteside of Huntsville, Texas, my administrative assistant that helps me on all the research that I provide you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners, because I think she likes this 45. We go to March of 62 for the Maroons on Queen. It's called Someday I'll Be the One.
Someday you're going to want my love, I know. When that day comes, I'll never let you go. You're going to be by my side to be my guide, maybe. When I pass by your house, I'll know that that day has come when I'll never let you go. You're going to be by my side to be my guide. Darling, no one's love can bring the memories. You're still in love with me. Whoa, someday you're gonna want my love. I know when that day comes, I'll never let you go. You're going to be by my side to be my guide. Oh, darling, someday say that you want my love. Someday, darling, please say that you want my love. Don't make me get on bended knees. Someday.
That group is called the Maroons. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. Recorded for the Queen record label. I think it's a division of King Records. March 1962, the Maroons with Someday I'll Be the One. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, here's a 45 on the Boss label. Now, for you collectors out there, there were a number of Boss record labels, all from different cities in the United States. Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Detroit, Louisville, New York, San Francisco, and this 45 that I'm featuring is out of Chicago, Illinois, and it's the only release by this Chicago group called the Rennels, and the song was written by the group's lead singer. His name is Rennell Bowen, so let's please give a listen to the Rennels. This is the intended A-side from 1963, the Rennels on Boss. It's called Boom Baby.
Yeah, boom, baby. You blew my whole world apart. I acted a fool from the start. Boom, you blew my whole world apart. I hold in my hand 3 pieces of my broken heart. That you called, darling, when you said we must part. Well, I'm gonna cry. Well, I'm not crying for you. I'm crying for being such a fool to think you could love me and never leave me. You know they say everything that goes around must come around. And I'm gonna get to the next. Come around, baby. So later on after a while, further on down the line, we'll meet again before the end of time. Yes, you made me cry when you said goodbye. You broke my heart when you said we must part.
That sounds like Blue Moon to me, but those are the Rennels. Rennell Browns on lead. I wonder where they came up with the name of the group, but that's 1963. Boom Baby's the name of the tune. Came out on the Boss label. This is the Boss label out of Chicago, Illinois. We'll go on for a few more 45s for this next group now. They're out of Los Angeles, California. Was a trio which consisted of Judge Bradley, Al Crum, and William Melvin. They had this lone release on the MJ record label out of Long Beach, California. As we go to May of 63, it features Judge Bradley on lead. This one from May of 63, they're called the Bandits. The Bandits on MJ, and the tune is called Nothing Can Change My Love for You.
You've gone and left me. Oh, I cried the promises you made to me. You did not abide, yes, you've gone and you've left me, but nothing can change my love for you.
Mine was for love.
From May 1963, they're a group called the Bandits. They're out of Los Angeles, California. It's on the MJ record label. Nothing Can Change My Love for You is the name of the tune. Now, this record, for you collectors out there, would come out 3 different ways with 3 different flip sides. First press has, I think, an instrumental called St. Louis Blues. Second has a song called This Love of Ours, as done by another group called The Dynamics. That's how I have it. And there's a third press that has a tune called That's Bad by The Dynamics. Anyway, but that's a cool tune. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to the listening to all these cool 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Send me some requests. Still working on some cool requests that I'm trying to locate, but I've been recording this one on the Ustream broadcast. There's only going to be, I think, maybe 1 or 2 more shows I'm going to have to record on Ustream to post up on my YouTube account, because they're shutting down the free basic application. So I'm off on Monday, going to check out some other options. I'm going to maybe try it next Saturday. We'll see. But if I'm not ready to go next week, we'll still have the archive at vinyltreasures.net. You can go there and you can listen to the streaming or download the archives there on my website. But that's going to do it for tonight's show. We're going to close out tonight with a group out of Philadelphia, PA. Now, their debut single was in 1961, came out on the Bargain label. Some of you may know the tune. It's called The Beat of My Heart, but they would re-record it in 1963 for the Philips label as the Whirlwinds. Did I tell you what were they called? They were called the Cordells when they first recorded it back on the Bargain label. But then in 1963, they recorded it again as the Whirlwinds. But they changed the title also to Heartbeat, and it features the cool bass of Earl Young, who would later form MFSB in 1972, and the lead singer, his name is Jimmy Ellis. He would become a member of the Tramps. And now this group also recorded as the Exceptions on the Pro and Cameo labels. You may know their other tune is called Down by the Ocean, but the closer tonight is from September 63, the Whirlwinds on Philips, their tune called Heartbeat. Excuse me, folks. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Please tune in tomorrow evening starting at 9 p.m. for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. Dave will be on with some cool 60s sounds. I'll be back next Saturday starting at 10 p.m. from 10 to midnight for more 50s and early 60s 45s out of my collection as I'm losing my voice. Well, thank you, Charlene, again for all your help, and I'll be back here next Saturday. So just want to say, everybody, have a safe and happy week. I'll see you here next Saturday on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Well, the beat of my heart tell me that we'll never part. We'll be together forever and ever. You make my heart go. Oh, tell me, dear, you'll always want me near. I can say you're mine. You make my heart go.
You're my little star that shines in the night.
Every day,
While I'm singing, holding you
come on,
tight, I need your love.
say will.
The sun.
And that is why you know I love you so well. The beat of my heart tell me that I feel never far. We'll be together forever and ever. You make my heart go.
Boom, 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 and boom, boom. You're my little star, but they shine in the night. All of the